So in this video, I'm going to show kind of a code template I put to try to demonstrate some good coding techniques for the first challenge. It is critical to note there is no hope of this code actually really running. This is all about looking at the structure of what I did and then finding what parts make sense to put into your own file. I really wouldn't even recommend starting with this and making edits. You really should look at this and then apply the changes to what you're already working on yourself. So again, I have a bunch of sensors defined, what's probably a typical loadout for this challenge, and my normal motors in B and C. I've set up some global variables in this challenge. I'm going to use these mostly for configuration kinds of things. I also have a couple flags that I use to communicate between the multiple tasks. So this variable is going to tell the robot, am I in the house or not? And I can use this to select what I should be doing. This is a configuration variable, find obstacle. Often I find that when teams are testing, they kind of get stuck in this very linear progression of I have to start at the beginning, I have to follow the line. So it takes a couple of minutes to see whether the change you made in the house actually works. So it's not really a great idea. It's also not a great idea to be making radical changes to your code to try to skip that part, because it's pretty easy to make a mistake. So what I've done is I have this little variable here, set it to true normally, and I just take the obstacle code and the first bit of line following, wrap it in an if statement, and now when I want to make a change, I'm making it in exactly one place. It's a very clear change, very easy to do. Goal holds my light sensor target, and I've hard-coded the colors that I'm interested in, so that I can change those should if the lighting conditions change or I make the sensor go up or down. So as I've recommended to several of you, in order to make the actual code easier to read, I've built a couple functions or procedures in order to store some of the motor commands. Again, I put that way they're in one place, even if you can change them just once. So I wrote this basic little line following code. It's really bad line following code. So yeah, clearly don't use it, but just kind of to show what it is. The important thing to note is that this has my if statements in here, but it does not store any of the looping behavior. The loops will be controlled by the main controller, because that's what I need to start and stop those loops depending on what other sensors tell me. But this is just, the ifs, and all the motor commands are up here. Same thing down here. I wrote my code to avoid the obstacle. Again, this is just a really simple timed turn. It's probably dangerous. There's some more videos that show how to use the encoder values and set targets. That's a much better strategy. But again, this isn't to solve the problem for you. This is to really look at structure. So that structurally, I have my motor commands called out. They're in a place where I can see them. You could even put them in an include file if you don't want to look at them. So this is the first task I've defined. I call it color watch. This is my task that's going to just kind of keep track of my light sensor. So I have set up some piece, start a basic loop, read in my sensor value, and if it's red, I set my flag to true. The other loop of code will react to that. This is just pretty trivial. And if the color is blue, I do my, I play my zone. I always use play immediate because I want to make sure that I haven't gotten queued up or backed up or whatever. And I put a little wait in here, to make sure I don't double count the people. Again, you'll have to adjust this. And then I put this wait in here as one of those multitasking waits just to make sure this loop doesn't hog the CPU. And then I have my main task. So I do my normal auto calibration bit at the beginning. This is my if statement that wraps the obstacle avoidance. If I am going to, try to find the obstacle, I do my start. This is going to start the beep watching. I am going to do line following until I get close to something. Then I'm going to stop color watching, run my motor commands, and this is the end of the if statement. So if I have that top flag set to false, I'll just start here. I'll run these couple commands, then I'll jump to here. And so again, I start color watching back up. Again, as long as I haven't in the tape, notice that I use the exclamation point as the logical not. and do my line following, stop that task, and then I put a comment here where you'd want to add the next set of stuff. So again, please don't steal this completely as is. It's really not that good. But hopefully it will give you some ideas of how to keep this organized. As I was talking to some of the teams very late on Sunday, I noticed that there was room for improvement in the organization. A lot of people were going crazy with multitasking. Also, you'll notice that in this section of code, I didn't really put a lot of weighting in. And so you probably want to throw, probably right after here, a couple quick weights, just to make sure that your color sensing code has a small opportunity to run. Hope that gives you a hand, and I will see you all in class. Have a great day.